The reason some businesses are looking at other foundries is not just because TMC is hitting capacity, it's also partly because of TSMC's special relationship with Apple. In 2021, Apple bought over 50% of TSMC's 5nm capacity, which in a vacuum and on its own doesn't really amount to much until you look at what they did in 2023, where Apple bought 100%, literally all of the 3nm capacity that TSMC could offer. And these, at their respective times, were TSMC's latest cutting edge node. And if you're buying up that much capacity, that basically leaves none of it for any of its other customers. And TSMC allowed this. Since Apple is their biggest customer, they naturally went to Apple first and gave them basically first dibs on capacity. This means other companies, such as AMD, Qualcomm, and Nvidia, had to build their processors on older nodes because other firms weren't quite up to snuff yet. Samsung had yield issues, and Intel was still building their factories at the time. And due to this, capacity generally has to be booked years in advance in order for your product to get manufactured. And if you didn't forecast what your future sales for your product were going to be because you launched a killer product and sales were just unprecedented, what happens if you don't have enough capacity for that product? You end up in a persistent shortage like we've seen before. And if Samsung and Intel are trying to get Sony, AMD, along with other companies as their customers, it really comes down to one thing now, which is their yield. And for those who don't know, yield is the percentage of chips that you have coming successfully off the line without defects. And on a side note, some of those chips that come off the line with defects are actually reused in some way. They have parts of them fused off or made unfunctional so they can be used in a lower tier or model of product. But even then, you want the product that you are trying to make to have a relatively decent chance of being made without a defect. So if Samsung and Intel can get competitive nodes and competitive yields, then that would be good for every company that relies on semiconductors for their products.